Dumelang re la amogela mo go Daily Thetha on SABC 1. Nna ka lebitso ke nna Nicolette wa ga Mashile ngwana wa kwa Bushbuckridge Mapulaneng. Yena re tshwareleng lona leme la matsogo ke seswa rone Nonhlanhla Nyobane. Today on Daily Thetha we're looking at the conditions of working under lockdown. Now we know for COVID-19 e re tlhasele lefatshe ka moka, but specifically in South Africa we have instituted a lockdown and a lot of people are having to find themselves having to work from home. Now a study that was done in 2017 showed that they don't mind taking an 8% decrease in their salaries as long as it would be interesting now to find out because you know when you think about working home or working remotely, you're just wanting to work at home. Now COVID in the mix, sometimes internet is not stable in the mix. How are you feeling right now about having to work at home?
All the way from, of course, of course it is living and working in the same space because it could be one child, two children auntie. At work they're still expected to deliver the same content, the same work value, and we then look at how is this advantageous considering ukuthi ngempela abanye will end up having to say out of 5 days usebenza amalanga amathathu ekhaya amabili emsebenzini. And would it work for you? Because I know the advantages ukuthi I'll keep my petrol, kodwa there are disadvantages ukuthi awutholi isikhathi esanele ukuthi uxoxe nengane yakho ukuthi uhlale nomsebenzi wakho while usekhaya. Sithi ke kuwena mbukeli la uhleli khona ukuthi do you think it will work out for umuntu osebenzayo? We get to hear from abantu abasebenzayo in today's show, but also we get to hear from you because wena ubalekile for us. Please utilize the hashtag Daily Thetha go Instagram, na go Twitter, na go Facebook. Ungasabi kushayela na go WhatsApp because Tina would love to hear from you.
And our WhatsApp number is 0723161329. I'm just looking at my own life now as a freelancer, but there's just so much, and I'm really not adapting to this situation. But we have found some people that have really just adapted. We're about to speak to one of them. Her name is Boipila Mabe, and she is a social media engagement manager at one of the big cellular networks in the country. And she says, you know what, it is business as usual, but I've had to adapt to some things. Let's talk to Boipila right now. Boipila, welcome to Daily Thetha, Mama.
Hi, Melody and Nicolette. Good to have you guys or to be on the show.
Awesome. We look forward to having a conversation with you. When you've adapted quite well to this new working environment, can you maybe take us through how come this is?
Okay, so I have to say initially it wasn't easy because being at home is obviously very different from being at the office. You are surrounded by so many other distractions that necessarily you are not exposed to at the office. But same thing as working in the office, you have to be disciplined and be accountable to yourself as to how you're going to remain productive even with those distractions. Because, you know, maybe at the office, I don't have TV, but, you know, at home I do. And that's just one of the things that you kind of have to tell yourself that, okay, this is work time. This is time for me to be productive. And you just continue with that and make sure that you stay accountable.
Would you say, Boipilo, at this very time, I mean, social media in Tenkulu, in South Africa, in the world, and it makes it easier to communicate socially. Would you say this is an advantage or a disadvantage?
Social media is definitely an advantage in that now we are all relying digitally to communicate, right? And I feel like social media provides those platforms for us to be able to engage on levels that we otherwise would not if we only had cell phone and text. Now we can see each other. Now we have video calling. Now we have live features that a lot of people are taking advantage of across social media networks for people to stay in touch, stay engaged, and to really just stay on the ground in terms of what's happening around us and in the world. So it's definitely an advantage, especially in a time like this.
Boipilo, we've noticed makeup, you dress up as if you're still going to the office. How has this actually contributed to you being a little bit more productive because you're creating that environment?
Yeah, so environment is everything, right? And the fact that I get up and get ready as though I'm going to work actually contributes a lot to my productivity, because psychologically staying in bed or trying to work from bed, that does not work out or contribute to my productivity, because your body knows sleep is associated with your bed or your pajamas. So I think waking up and getting ready, making breakfast at the time that I would normally would, keeps me up to speed and up to date in terms of just with myself. And it just feeds back to that whole notion of accountability and staying accountable to yourself to say that, okay, I am going to wake up, I'm going to shower at this time, I'm going to have my breakfast and sit at my laptop. And I think it's also just a good way to show respect to your colleagues. You know, it's actually quite refreshing to see someone who's well put together on a video call, because everyone just thinks this is a time for you to be on video calls with your colleagues in your pajamas, which you otherwise wouldn't do if you were in the office, right?
And it makes me then ask, boyicabanga kunabantu who were not taught. Do you think most companies, in your opinion, bathathile ithuba ukuthi bafundise abantu ukuthi this is the new etiquette, this is the new line that we need to toe? Because mina ngizokuvela ngishaya igama ukuthi yeah, information is fresh, just that I don't look fresh. Is it an infringement of some way? Isebenza kanjani?
Yeah, so I think it's a matter of the habits that you had in the office are certainly going to start showing at home. That's number one. And so if you were used to taking coffee for 3 hours before actually starting to be productive, that's exactly what you're going to do at home. And I think people are under the idea or illusion that because your colleagues can't see you, your work can't be seen. But the fact is, this is a time where your productivity and the impact of your work will actually speak more volumes than you pretending to be busy. So it's actually very, very important to show the output of your work more, especially this time when you can't be seen by your bosses or your fellow colleagues. So just be aware of the distractions and the habits that you built in the office that are now following you home, for you to be able to start mitigating and understanding that, in fact, this time we see a lot of people losing their jobs. If you can still work at home, be grateful and be as productive as you can be.
Boipelo, just a quick one. A lot of people are having difficulty adapting to the fact that this is not a holiday. You still have to work, as you've just mentioned. But does that also mean that work policies are still effective? Because Rabona, especially when somebody works in social media, people are spending a lot more time on social media, but companies have social media policies. How do you differentiate, but I'm still guarded under my work policies?
Yeah, so, I mean, work policies are still 100% in full effect, even though you are working from home. And I think that's a big thing that needs to be understood. And secondly, it's the accountability, right? So whatever your teams and your managers have put in place is what's going to help you or work against you. So for example, with my team, we meet every morning and every afternoon, and then with everything else that we have in between, depending on what kind of work that we have. But we have a status every part of the day or at the beginning and the end of the day to ensure that everyone is on the same page. We are all churning out the work that we need to be churning out. So it doesn't matter how you decide to use your day when we don't see you, but when the deadline time hits and for you to submit that work, then it's that time. And if you don't submit it, then company policy comes into effect. The necessary processes will be put into place.
And
but again,
Boipelo, sorry to come in there. Just a quick one, especially listening to what you've just said now. Are you, as a manager, empathetic to those who have children who might not be able to follow the routine that you've got because
Yes. So, I mean, in that case as well, I mean, I do have colleagues who have families, who have children, right? And throughout the day, you can just imagine, I mean, I do empathize and sympathize with individuals in that circumstance, right? But again, I think it goes back to developing really, really strict routines for yourself and for your children that you can manage to work. But I think most importantly, what I can advise on is that this is the time where you need to be very transparent with your managers at work and your colleagues. So set the expectation and be realistic with what you can deliver, and also be realistic as well with the situation at home, because sometimes some people can take advantage of that to stay away from working. But be fair to yourself firstly, and be fair to the teams that you work with in your work environment, and find ways that work. That if it means that you can only start work at 11 o'clock when your kids have eaten and are now napping, then create that as a plan to submit to your manager to show that you are responsible and accountable even during this time.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, there isn't a policy that kind of covers or makes way for such cases formally, right?
Sithi sibonge kusisi Boyipilo Mabe, who just gets to explain to us ukuthi bona basebenza kanjani, especially in the world of social media kulesikhathi esiphila kuzona. After the break, what we'll end up doing is that we're going to be chatting to Umama, who is also at the same time an HR manager, and she gets to explain to us ukuthi kancane how is she coping and how is she separating umndeni nomsebenzi. Bese buya after the break.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. Re lebeletse taba ya go bereka during the lockdown. Na re tšiba gore a go so mmereko fela, especially go dule gae. O tshwanetse also factor in every other aspect of your life. It may be managing your children, managing your workers, managing any single other person that is falling under your perspective or your purview. And I think it does become a little bit difficult, Melody.
Yazi bowujwayele ukuthi bowuvuka emsebenzini kune routine oyakhaya.
Yes.
Uyavuka mhlawumbe uthandaze ukubeka igedlela, ukwazi ukuthi ugibele itaxini bowehla uyothenga amagwinya. And things have changed and they somehow affect us in certain ways. Abantu abathize like ama-nannies abayohlala ney'ngane abasakwazi ukuthi baphume manje. So iroutine yakhe ishintshile. So besikhuluma nomama who is an HR manager ngokomsebenzi and profession, but sikhuluma kakhulu ngobuzali bakhe and the role and how things have had to adapt endlini yakhe. Sicela samukele uMamthoko Makwe, who joins us on Daily Thetha this morning. Mama, sawubona?
Yebo.
Ninjani ma?
Njani? Nikhona njani Nicola?
Ayisikhona ma. Sithi sibuze ma, I mean ngiyazi ukuthi bowune routine bosaya emsebenzini before i-lockdown. Izinto zashintsha. Akushitshele ngalesikhathi ingakafiki i-lockdown i-COVID-19. Impilo yakho beyinjani? Bowenzani every day? What was your routine?
No, the routine was, I would get ready in the morning, get the girls ready for school, drop them off, go to work, go to care, then I come back home, fetch them and do homework. There was structure,
Yeah. Manje sekunjani manje ngoba sesingene kwi-COVID-19 lockdown yasemzansi?
I-structures hambile, so kuhlangahlangene abantu they're sleeping till late. You have to wake them up, balala late, I really applaud teachers because getting them to be in a structured format to study, to do their work is really difficult. Essentially.
Mama Thoko, let's Barry Musadi sometimes is a hero without a cape. There's an expectation that you are able to do everything because of tipa ka bogaleng. Talk to us through how do you juggle all the titles that you are holding? Mom, you are a teacher now, you are also a head of a manager or HR. Everything ki mix masala. How are you managing?
It's a day by day, hour by hour kind of thing. Flexibility is very important. There are days where I've got back-to-back meetings, Skype meetings, I've got deliverables. So in those days, I just do whatever they want. But when, the work is a little bit slow, I then sit with them, see where they are they doing the work that has been given to them by the school. So really flexibility is important and it's very difficult. Yeah.
Now I can imagine, Mama Thoko, it's not even just about some of it needs to actually be taught, because some of these kids, their syllabuses, university. How are you managing to keep yourself updated with the math sums they've got to do, the science they've got to do?
Google is Google is my friend, and and also the government has got that Team Geeks. So you've got those online, but there's of content online. I always tell my daughter, you don't really need to wait for it. You can Google, YouTube. There is information, but like you say, yes, in varsity. I remember my days. I don't remember some of the stuff. Yeah, so really, you must just look for content. It's there, it's out there, but obviously data is an issue.
And best ngena kancane kulokho ma, I mean, when we look at how things have been built up in endlini, how do you also instill discipline kwingane zakho? Because when you're trying to do your work, and sometimes it's ibamba na phone to distract them, but also how do you then draw the line to know when to distract them, but also still bring them back in terms of discipline yasendlini?
Yeah, that's another tough one. I've had to confiscate phone sometimes.
Hey.
So that work can be done. And yeah, it's a problem. Yes, if they have access to data, then they're doing other things. They're not even checking schoolwork sometimes. So it's a tough one. So I'm sort of trying to sort of in a week look at what done, what have they not done, and take their phone and say finish this work first, then you'll get your phone back. But yeah, no, we're living in that time.
And yazi umanungikhathaza umoya bosho kanjalo mawami, because what I then want to understand is how are you emotionally coping? When uzizwa kanjani, what are you using to assist you kule khathi enzima?
Yeah, no, that's an issue. It's tough because you stuck in a house, you've got cabin fever. They are also, frustrated. So we try to exercise. We put in exercise as part of our regime. In the mornings, log in and reading prayers. My church is online. So I must say, for me, I'm lucky to be able to go online and get some of these. But it is tough. I never appreciated the sun more than I do now, because you do need that, and fresh air. So it's really tough, yeah. But you have to just be positive and say that this too shall pass,
So Togo, I'm just thinking, as somebody that works, in the specialty HR, human capital, a lot of people have been saying, it's been in the news before even COVID-19, we need to be flexible with how we work. Maybe some people can work from home. Looking at the situation now, do you think that this is the way we can move forward? Is it productive to work at home? Is it easy to work at home in a country like South Africa?
It depends on the nature of jobs, obviously, but definitely, yes, it's something we can. You are productive, you get the work done. So yes, and it's the way of the future. So we cannot say it's not going to work. It's how we should move forward. Yeah.
And you have not, because what I'm trying to understand, Kore, some of the difficulties that you may face, because you said something quite important. You've got access to the internet, you've got access to online. What about, and I'm just looking at somebody that might not have the infrastructure. That person, do they not get disadvantaged?
Yeah. I guess so. I guess it is tough without, but I mean, like I'm saying, it has to do with the nature of your job. If your job requires you to be in the office or to be in the services industry where you have to face clients, then you can from home, obviously. But companies, we have as a country, we have to stay innovative and studying at ways to really do this, working from home, because you save sometimes on infrastructure, on rentals, and the like.
Yes, definitely.
Before we let you go, of course, understand this. Would you say, as in after lockdown, asebenze half week ekhaya, half week office, or bungathi nje kuphela ukuthi as in aswele to back to normal? Sengikhathele mina ukubona indonga zendle yami.
And just to add on to that, nabantwana, could you consider homeschooling?
Hey!
I know. I believe we need social interaction. No. Social interaction is very important. I think it's the nature of us as human beings. We are social beings. So definitely I appreciate being in the office with my colleagues. I miss them. And I think my children are missing school, missing their friends. So really it has to take this to make us realize that we as human beings are social, and Yeah. So I
Yeah.
can't wait.
So,
Yeah.
mhlambe nje before sikudedele umlezo ongothanda ukudlulisa kwabanye abazali who are mothers, who are employees kulesikhathi benza konke ungathini mawami?
Kuthini?
Ngithi kulesikhathi lesi kunabanye abazali abafana nawe kulesimo kusona. What would you like to say ukuthi nje ubakhuthaze ubafaka umoya kancane?
No, just to say, maybe also take this opportunity to get to know your children, to really bond with them, to also, it's tough, but it's time for families to be together, to sort of start engaging on topics. I've been talking with my children on a lot of topics, and we've been finding creative ways of learning. I mean, using emojis to learn about idioms. So be creative in how you engage with your children, but also at the time it will pass.
Okay, mawami sibonga kakhulu. Thank you so much ukuthi namhlanje ukwazi ukuthi uxoxe nathi. We appreciate your time, and of course wish you all the best with the little ones lapha endlini. As they say, but the tough times never last, but tough people do. After the ad break, we talk about resources that actually are available or not for people who are working from home this way.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. If you have just joined us, we're talking about working during the lockdown. Now, it may seem a little bit easy, it may seem a little bit difficult, but one of the things that we know for a fact, you need to have a stable internet connection. And this is not always the case for most people. Now, we know for some people, the lockdown happened quite hastily, and companies were not able to prepare themselves to make sure each and every employee has that internet connection.
And futhi ke sikwazi ukuthi in all of that happening abantu abaningi abahlala in different areas, rural and urban, babona ukuthi bazithola basenkingeni ukuthi emsebenzini kube ngathi uzawufuna ukusebenza wivila kanti lutho network iyateka. Sithi sikhulume kancane ke nobhuti ke uAbongile who joins us as he chats about his experiences emsebenzini la ku Daily Thetha. Abongile Nkomana, welcome to Daily Thetha.
Thanks, Mr. Melot. How are you, sir?
Hayi siyaphila baba, singezwa wena.
Siyaphila nathi akalotoba.
Ake singene endabeni bhuti wami, ake siqale ngokuthi what do you do? Umsebenzi wakho besikhulu ukuthi umsebenzi wakho wenzani kahle kahle?
I'm a HR system administrator.
Okay. That's a very important job, Abongile.
Sorry?
Ngithi umsebenzi o very important loyo.
Yeah, it's a very important job because basically what we do is assist with the maintenance of the HR system and provide comprehensive and effective HR administrative approach to the operational HR team.
Putting ngolwazi wakho, let's break down when lockdown was going to be implemented. When as an HR practitioner, what are the things in ukuthi zibalulekile? What are the things that you have to consider for abasebenzi across the board?
Okay, what I can say about that, working remotely is something that can make employees to be vulnerable to working longer hours, then sometimes makes it difficult to distinguish between their personal life and their work as a whole.
And Abongile, before we even get into the employees, when I will talk about a little bit the situation because you're saying some of your Zoom meetings are really difficult for you to conduct because of the area where you are living. Papa?
I live in South Hill.
Say that again, please.
Sorry?
Papa?
South Hill.
Okay, talk to us a little bit about the challenges that you are currently having every day.
Some of the challenges that I'm having, I can say that it's interruption. Because when you're working remotely, you sometimes do not have a stable connection to the internet. And then, because with the work that I do, usually make a lot of Teams meeting, virtual meeting.
Abongile, just to apologize to you and our viewers at home, we are struggling to hear you a little bit. We're going to try and establish that line again.
A bit better.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I love my point. For example, the problem of long hours. Ubona ukuthi emsebenzini bongena ngo-8 yazi 84 o'clock ukubona uhlele emsebenzini lokubheka iwashi ukuthi hayi yabona ngiyahamba manje. But now in a more serious element, you can no longer say ubheka iwashi. Now we are looking at deliverables. Kusho ukuthi ibhizinisi liya benefit ukudlula the employee ngobani bathi ndoda ngiyayidinga lento iyenziwe. If it takes you 3 days ungalali uzokwenza as compared to you working in an actual office.
I think also Stabaya Abongile is very, very interesting and quite a unique one because yena mmereko gagwe ko mmerekong is to make sure that employees are taken care of. They've got all the resources to be able, because I know that in every single contract it says the employer must create a conducive working environment. Now katna kwa lockdown ribereka byang yon taba, because you as the HR person needs to be setting the example. We're going to try and see if we've got Abongile back on the line. Dumela Papa Abongile.
Yeah, boss.
Okay, I think it's
ngcono manje bhuti wami siyazwakala. And bosasibikela nje kancane ngezinto that you're going through in terms of conditions of you creating a conducive working environment for not just your employees but even for yourself.
I can't hear that clearly.
So you were just explaining to us the conducive environment and its importance. How are you going through it? Usebenza kanjani kulesikhathi esikusona ku lockdown?
So what I was saying is that with those challenges being made, our employers took the liberty to prepare for the lockdown before we were on the 21-day lockdown. I provided some of the employees that were working, the office-based employees with laptops, and then they also were given data to use during the lockdown.
Okay. I mean that's quite interesting, but for me as an HR practitioner, if you are struggling, can you imagine what the employees are going through? So how are you helping them in that regard? You know, when something, for instance, like an unstable internet connection, libatusha biyang lona as HR?
Also, with that point, we made a look at the type of internet that are used in the area that they are living in. For example, a person living in Tembisa, they were given an MTN, but MTN has better network coverage in that area.
Yeah.
So that's basically how we're trying to tackle the whole lockdown issue.
Because Abongile, ke atenagana gore nka latlhegela ke mmereko kapa company e ka bona nkare I'm not being productive during this lockdown, and then I get punitive measures put in place. Ganti it's because of a situation outside of my control. So even if you were to say you are giving me an MTN modem, it might not work inside ntlo yaka. How do I communicate those concerns? Your workers who are working under lockdown, but communicate beyond the concerns it's upon.
So they do have cell phones that they can communicate with their line manager.
Okay.
So they can raise the issue with their line manager, and then they can be heard from there.
But Abongile, sisibuyise ekhaya kancane. I mean, uyazi ukuthi thina sibuye emakhaya lana sihlala khona endlini sibawu 5, sibawu 6, and ukuthola indawo or isikhathi sokusebenza namanje ngiholayo, it doesn't allow me to live in a space la ngiba ne-study khona. How have you considered abantu abanjalo in their situations?
So what we did is that we implemented they are using devices. So we implemented an app that is going to help them with regulating the working hours that they do, because we understand that they also have families and under interruption. So that's basically helping them with how to regulate that.
Yeah.
By sending videos daily, and then guiding them as well on how to go about during this lockdown.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Abongile, for giving us your time right here on Daily Thetha. And I think for me, what is quite interesting, you're not just an employee. Especially if you're working under lockdown, you're an employee, you are a parent. A parent. When people are setting up meetings, do they take that into consideration? what I'm trying to understand, do they fit in with your schedule?
As we move again, simple from start to mention you start working more hours, you start contributing more. Endlini, but thing is cut sako, ukuthi ukwazi ukuthi ukhulume nabo. Beba uhleli ku laptop abona to serious. But engicabanga ukukhulu ukuthi HR is a very interesting challenge ahead as we look at the times that keep moving right here. But must be a good daily Thetha and expand about working under lockdown.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. You're working during the lockdown. Now, probably one of the hardest hit industries in this country is small SMMEs and small businesses because trader right now, many of them, and they probably having cash flow issues because while you are running a business, you still have to pay your employees because sometimes employees don't understand business, but when as the head, when as the director, as the CEO, as the owner of the business, everybody is looking up to you. We're going to be speaking to Phindile Tapula, who is a business owner but also works in her own capacity to understand what are some of her frustrations.
Sis Phindile, welcome to Daily Thetha.
Thank you so much. Hi guys. Wow, hello, thank you so much for having me.
I said I mean, Sis Phindile, let's just quickly get into your current condition as an employee and as an employer. Isn't it mega?
Oh no, it's so difficult. Firstly, employer, right? The early Zoom meetings are so hard, you know, to make. And also just as an employee, you know, you have to still deliver. Whether there's a pandemic, you as a mom, the guy around, you still have to deliver. So that, I think, is one of the challenging things for me as an employer and also as an employee. Just making it early and still delivering excellent results has been the hardest thing.
Phindile, you're not just an employer, not just an employee, umama, umusadi wa motho. You're wearing so many titles on your head and you have to manage all those things. Tell us a little bit about how you are managing with your other titles, mom and wife.
Look, it's so difficult. I remember the beginning of the when I was waking up early and making pancakes, trying to spring clean. And I forgot that, you know what, the emails are coming in, you know. So wearing so many hats, time management is key. And I think the ingredient in time management is able to practice mindfulness. When you can tell yourself, I've got 45 minutes to reply to all these emails, and you just put everything that you have in you and you bring the A game, that's what will help you be able to make the hours go a longer way. That's, I think, what has helped me. So mindfulness, I really advocate for that.
Would you say Lushincho Lolu all experience is adding pressure to your life, or is it taking out stress from your life? You know, some people
Look, this is a difficult time for everyone. I mean, anxiety is just crazy, you know, but we can also just look at the silver lining. I know last year I started chemicals company. I was just in multi-purpose soap, but now we are providing sanitizer. I guess that's good for us, but also my nonprofit, my beneficiaries from child-headed household. So trying as a nonprofit, talking to government, talking to Nelson Mandela Foundation to say, how can you help our beneficiaries? That has been tough, but you know what? People are willing to listen, and we're so grateful. Really, it is stressful, but I think with this again, just keeping high and now it's really hard. We can get through this. So it's difficult and do it.
Phindile, I'm going to ask you a very naughty question. Lietsa di pancake, wale sa ba direle boroto le botoro. Ke batla tseba rena di pancake has this been always the normal thing that you were doing for your children, or did you have a nanny that was helping you out?
Look, in the beginning, I tried to be super home, like I said, pancake cleaning, and I started growing really tired and exhausted and irritable. And with kids, you can really, you're with your parents. So I had to really humble myself and be vulnerable and say, hey, please help me. Mom home, but mom is on holiday. And my partner has stepped up. I'm really grateful for that and blessed. But this gives us an opportunity to have a conversation to say, how do we actually divide roles at home? Do we still look at gender, and can we then talk about that and humbly and lovingly change that family institution?
That's quite interesting. It's quite a different dynamic, having to now look at the gender roles and say, I say,
but you see, that's what I want to get to also. Because in that same aspect, Ghana's understand. Mama is now mom. There's no work. So how do you make ingane understand ukuthi isikhathi ukuthi usebenze manje?
Firstly, order, but look, we often feel guilty saying, you know what, TV is bad, take away the tablet. But if you really say, for the next 5 minutes, please watch those cartoons while mommy just works. You know, you will get through. And I think with that, you have to keep your word. If you said minutes, you said that when this clock hits this I'm going to be ready to play with you. Do it so that next time when you say, can I have 45 minutes, Manuna, the Nuna will say, have it, because I know you can play. So really add that screen time. The cartoons, one child now knows how to count to 5, thanks to some PJ mask and some screen time. A bit of screen time.
I mean, Pindi, I'm just feeling, don't feel guilty. TV sometimes, let's talk a little bit about the interventions that the government has put in place for SMMEs like yourselves. Have you taken advantage of those where you are needing to?
Look, I have in a way, because of, like I said, with our beneficiaries are benefiting. So as a non-profit, we are still have some impact beneficiaries. And like I said, I'm fortunate and blessed to have a chemical still revenue with our chemical company. But I think the willingness of the government to wait for it to trickle down and help the SMMEs, because SMMEs are so important. It's the only vehicle that truly double and triple just a little bit of support, and really fight unemployment. I really am looking forward to being able to receive some of the support from the government so that we can do our best in employing people.
Pindi, just to quickly come in there, many SMMEs complain where they have put in the applications to the government reliefs, but none of them have actually received some sort of help or a response to say, recreate your application. Have you guys actually received the help?
Yes, we have.
That's nice.
We have. And it was slow. I want to be impatient too. I think as we also have a role to play as SMMEs in terms of complying. So let's get our books in order. We wait for the government to maybe reach out to us, and don't stop knocking. Knocking means you're not serious. So this is your business as an SME. This is your vision. This is your dream. So keep knocking, keep working, and try also innovate during this time and change and adapt.
Sis Pindi, I mean, before we let you go, and of course, I just want to understand, what are you saying to our Sebenza now? At this time, how are you keeping them alive and hopefully since Maganji?
As a small business, we don't have a lot of employees. I mean, the Women's Club is just 2 of us. The non-profit, there's 5 of us. Our chemical community, max 12 of us. I'm still able to help out and salaries. I'm still able to pay my help who's not home. Small business, I'm not saying I'm not doing well as a business, so being a salary. No, I am also helping people who are just affected by the pandemic as I am. So my employees come first. Those are my people. These are the people that make the dream work. So they're not going to suffer simply because I don't comply or it is a bit too slow. I'm still going to push and try and ensure that their lives are a bit easier.
Sisiphendile sibonga kakhulu ukuthi uthathe isikhathi ukuthi uxoxe nathi ku-Daily Thetha la ku-SABC 1. We appreciate your time
so
and of course nesikhathi usithathile from ingane ukuthi ukhulume nathi. Siyabonga kakhulu. And of course, speaking about the importance of SMMEs as business owners, as umuntu osebenzela wona, to understand what's going on and understand the challenges. Best way, we're also going to touch into being an essential worker, looking at things like transport. Ephuma ngo-4 ekuseni, ngo-7 iphelile, and that time when you are stuck in that space, kodwa kumele udeliver. All of this is kuqhubeka ngakho. Best way from the ad break. Siyabonga ukuthi usahleli nathi la ku-Daily Thetha on SABC 1, the biggest youth show in the country, maybe even the continent. Kodwa la hleli khona lockdown, and it's about people who are going through the conditions of working endlini, working nengane, and how they're working around it. But also, essential workers, abantu, who have been really struggling with getting to work, getting back from work, living in the fear of contracting, of course, COVID-19 at this very time, but also still having to produce work of its best quality.
And I think, Melody, let's quickly look at what is happening on social media. Tsonga man activist Ishmael Ari, I come across rude police. Even though I have a permit to go to work, sometimes I begin my night shift at 11 o'clock at night and police think I am lying when I say I am going to work. And I know you've had a similar experience.
Yeah, on my way to work, and I understand, but in that situation, it was because I think they're in fear that someone is trying to break the law, and I'm in fear that someone is trying to steal my car or even steal my life. And kanjani, kuba nokusaba in these situations, and I feel that anxiety builds a lot when Nicolette into things that people are working through. And I think maybe this is why it would be a right time to sibone kancane story saphuthi uNtobeko waka xa lesha, and asichazela kancane ukuthi as an essential worker, what are his fears and what is he going through?
So i-challenge esibhekene nayo yile ndaba ye-lockdown yenziwa yi-coronavirus. So like as abasebenzi thina basebenza manje this time asikho safe but siyasebenza. Okokuqala ma uphuma endlini usiya eTexini awukho safe as unawazi ukuthi abantu abaningi abasebenzi bahlele ezindlini. So ma ufika ugibela neTexi useTexini wathi ubheka awukho safe ngaloo ndlela because kunabantu ababona ukuthi abafaki ama-maski, like but ke siyagcina lo mthetho ukuthi kumele senze social distancing akagcwali nama-taxi kuba right, and ama-taxi ayasihlupha since abantu bangasebenzi kakhulu, ascarce, asislow, like izinto zislowly nje sinsuku manje. Then bese uyagibela naseTexini, but naseTexini kusenabantu abafinyana bangakayithathi serious indaba ze-corona, abahlala bakhuluma istory ezinjalo. Then sifika nasemisebenzini, umsebenzi ngisebenza ngama-customer, now awukho safe but ngiyazama bangiziprotecte, be safe, ngihlale ngisanitize all the time. Nalo ma-customer mawefika amanye anokhohlwa ukuthi kunendaba zama-corona umuntu athola ukuthi makubuza something ufuna ukusondela eduze kunawe, mara ke asikhohlwa sihlala siyifakile. Nasemateksini akho safe because kunalezaa mali eziningi sigcwele sizihambisayo laphaya.
I'm quite empathetic, and just listening to the frustration Tobeko, those who are going to work are actually very lucky because they get to get out of the house, they get to make their money, but at what cost? You know, listening to the fact that he feels like he's having to put his life in danger all the time, but they're not observing the rules. But I think also more than anything, Melody, the first couple of weeks of lockdown, the one thing I realized was this transport situation.
Yeah.
You know, we're very lucky because you can get into your car at any point.
Yeah.
But let's say you chase 12 during the day, 4 o'clock taxi again, and that is really frustrating. But let's listen to some of the voice notes that you guys have sent to us talking about these essential workers and what are some of their frustrations.
It's actually difficult if you're not used to it, you know. And this lockdown really teaches you a lot of things. And it teaches you how to save, you know, talking based on food and all that. Don't eat too much, you know, try to save. Because mali yaphela, and people won't have money, but it's better now because some people will get 350s, but still though, you know, they need to put it in good use, you know, so it's very challenging, man. It's very challenging. But what can we say, man? We're facing this. There's no going back, you know. So let's pray that there's no other sickness that's coming.
Working under lockdown, everything is hard. It's not easy, it's normal. It's hard. People, they are not used to these things. So everyone is crying, but let's hope this COVID thing will pass. Just stay home, wear safety things, gloves, and mask. Protect this disaster. Please, people, stay at home. let's hope God will put his hands to stop this disease.
Kejabulisa ukwazi ukuthi wena mbukele ekhaya, you're always part of us and uyasithumela ama voice note, uyasithumela ama video wenu. Siyajabula kakhulu thina besiwathola. But also I want to encourage the mindset that ubhuti I think is showcasing bakhuluma ngokuthi uBuntobeko when he speaks about the responsibilities, because ukhohlwa kanjani, and how do we expand this reality, because ekugcineni umuntu ophuma endlini emsebenzini is taking a risk.
I actually want to rubutsisa wena Melody, because you're an essential worker right now. Daily Thetha 28 Qhubeke. We're having to work without our audience. We're having to work without our guests and trying to connect to our guests. How are you coping?
I think the beautiful thing is that because we're constantly wishing for bigger, I mean, ithuba ukuthi sifundise sihlale nathi showcasing what we can every day is something that allows me to say, hey, ungakhohlwa, ungalahlekelwa. And ukulahlekelwa kanjalo Nicolette, you lose the opportunity to come back stronger.
That's very true. We've got another social media coming in from Bonang Tiamo Yaroda. Our data is costing us. Hey, Kona. Data prices must fall, but now we're all working in trouble. And the young ones say data. Data is a problem.
Data. And you know what? You got to ask yourself for waiting. How long can businesses that are, of course, providers of data, but keeping it at a high price, because they're going to cause a riot. But also, 5G na isondele.
We've got another social media coming in from Tabang Rakwena. Are they always enter working places and their homes late because they encounter cops on the route to check if the permits are genuine or not? And their employers are giving them warning letters to lay them off if they are repeating. And it's excruciating to be laid off because of the barricades cops and soldiers do on the roads, which makes workers get to work late.
Leo mina ngivumi. Phuma ngesikhathi endlini bafo plana uyazi ukuthi siku lockdown. If uyazi ukuthi it takes 30 minutes, thatha isikhathi, because this is what I want to say. Abantu abasha, abantu abasebenza need to be responsible. We can't use this as an excuse. We're already going to experience abantu abazolahlekelwa umsebenzi. So if bazolahlekelwa umsebenzi Nicolette, how do I still have excuses ngesikhathi ukuthi only the best fitting people bazo survive?
Yeah, but understand, I mean, though, Melody, because sometimes the roadblock can make you late. We must stop calling them heroes and pay them better salaries fit for their heroes. In actual fact, Dr. Max on Twitter came out to say this thing of calling essential workers, especially doctors and nurses, as heroes needs to stop because they're not heroes. They are putting their lives in danger.
Yazini sithi sibonge kulabo abasebenzayo. Abanye bathi ama-heroes, bathi abakusi ama-heroes, mina ngithi ikhokho zenza umsebenzi ngendlela esithanda ngazo. But la sesivalishoya namhlanje sicela ukuthi wena mbukele ekhaya ukhumbule ukuthi sihlala nawe every Monday to Thursday 10:30 to 11:30. Hayi ngoba sithanda, ngoba kuthanda wena, because Daily Thetha is your show.
Thank you very much for tuning in and goodbye.